Hey guys, welcome. Muskie Road Rules Podcast, episode number 231. Guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in every week. And lucky for you, I don't have my sexy radio voice now. I have finally gotten over the God's worst cold that he could give a human. So actually feeling pretty good down here in Kentucky. It's warmed up. Temperatures aren't too bad, and catching a few fish. So that all's been good. Right now, tonight's podcast is brought to you by Stealth Tackle. Stealth Tackle, I mean, if you're looking for components, whether it be snaps, swivels, you name it, check out stealthtackle.net. Also, Clearly the Leader. You can find all the leaders, any length that you're really looking for, from trolling to casting, wire to fluorocarbon to woven wire, and sucker rigs. Check them out at stealthtackle.net. Send us a text on the text line, or Lunge and Lures text line at 606-776-6570. That is wrong. It is 606-776-6750. That's the one we want to do, 6750. Shoot us a text. Lunge and Lures, makers of tons of quality crankbaits. The newest one is the Alley Cat series of baits that they're coming out with, the Stray Cat and the Small Little LP. Check them out at lungeandlures.com. On the phone tonight, we got a whole crew here. I've got Cody Daniels from down in Tennessee, Ryan McMahon from up in Minnesota, and Brian Clark from Pennsylvania. Guys, how's it going?
Not too bad. Yeah, doing good down here.
Nice. All right, Cody, have you been on the podcast before? I can't remember.
I have not.
Oh, my God. I don't know why it's taken me 231 of these to get you on here. I didn't think you guys had phones down in Tennessee.
Buddy, I stay under the radar.
Yeah, I didn't know that. How's it going down there? Let me know what's happening down there.
Well, things are starting to warm up. Our fish are starting to come off the spawn. For the most part, we've still got some fish that are doing their business, but should be within the next week and a half or so. Pretty much all our fish should be finished up spawning.
Are these fish, let me ask you this, are these fish that you can see spawning? Are you seeing them paired up, or are you just seeing them with like some scars, or how, what are you seeing?
Yeah, typically our fish, I mean, I've seen them paired up, but it's very uncommon to see that.
And uncomfortable. I know it makes me blush.
But generally, our fish will start spawning the last week or two of February, and then by the end of March, or first or second week of April, they're kind of finished up. And I periodically go out and check some spots and things of that nature. And usually, when I start getting a few fish that are marked up, I know that they're about done with their business.
Sure. Now, for guys that don't know, what are you fishing down there?
So I fish Hill, of course, and then I've got a few rivers that I don't really want to disclose the names to.
That's all right. We'll call them River X and River Y.
Yeah. And then, of course, I fish some stuff in Middle Tennessee as well, some of the more natural rivers in Middle Tennessee, but so primarily just lakes and a couple rivers over here in East Tennessee.
The only place in East Tennessee that I've fished, well, I fished Milton Hill, and I got a buddy of mine with me, got his checkbook stolen at, or his rain suit stolen at Solway Boat Ramp.
Yep.
But they left the checkbook and the pistol. But they stole the rain suit, which was really weird. And then I fished the Nolichucky River. We floated in a John boat, some friends of mine from Asheville, and that was some really pretty water over that way. But I haven't fished a ton in Tennessee, but for guys that don't know, I mean, you guys have got a 50-inch size limit down there, right?
Yep. On Milton Hill, and then over in Middle Tennessee as well. But it's a statewide 36. I wish they'd change it, but 50 inches on Milton Hill, I'm pretty content with.
Sure. Has there been any big ones caught this winter?
Yeah, I actually just caught what I considered a good fish. I had a 48 3/4 last Friday. post-spawn fish that I caught.
Well, I consider that a big one. People like Ryan McMahon don't consider that a big one, but
yeah, we don't quite have the Minnesota size fish, but 50
Wait,
to 52 inch.
How big did you say?
48 3/4.
Oh man, I'd take one of those right now. I was just telling Cody when we were waiting in the green room. I'm looking at 10-foot snowbanks right now. So, yeah, we'll take that one all year long.
Oh, I'm sure. Brian, what about you? I know you just started getting on the water. How's it been for you up there in PA?
Water's still pretty cold. Actually, right now as we speak, it's still snowing outside. We're still
Gross.
upper 30s, low 40s. We did pop a couple fish over the weekend. Not really seeing them yet showing up on spawning grounds or shallow flats or weeds yet. They're still pretty much out in the open water, munching on big balls of shad. So hopefully this weekend we're going to get some better weather.
And better weather,
yeah.
Better weather. And, that sounds like a 900 number. That's like an option at the naughty store. What else is going on up there? Is there many guys fishing right now, or is it still just early?
Sunday was a real nice day, and we did see a couple boats out and about muskie fishing, and actually we decided to throw the boat on the trailer and go elsewhere where there was less of a crowd. But there's a couple guys out and about. For the most part, with this forecast and whatnot, I don't think too many guys have really pushed the limit yet. But yeah, this is getting to be prime time here soon. Once we get a couple warming days and get that water temp over 45, things should be on.
Good deal. Now, Cody, down there by you, do you have any better wetters?
Our weather pattern's kind of close to what you're seeing there, Greg. I mean,
did you have that god awful wind last Saturday?
Yeah, I was actually fishing it.
Oh, I did too. Not real successfully, but I was out there in it. We had gusts to 60 here. Yeah, I mean, it was awful. I didn't know if you guys had that. You guys got it too up there, Brian?
Yeah, we had it real bad Saturday afternoon where we had to take a break for about an hour and a half, hang out in a picnic pavilion away from the wind, waves, whatever, lightning. And then was able to get back out for a couple hours before it was pretty much sustained 30. And the portion of the lake we were fishing, we couldn't hold a spot to save our lives. So we called it a little bit early. But, yep, we had it.
Oh, it was terrible. It was
miserable.
It was absolutely awful here. How, Cody down there, right now for you, is it, and I don't know, are you casting, trolling? Do you do a little bit of both? What's kind of been your plan?
Honestly, I'm a caster, man. I'm trolling. I know it hurts me, but I like to cast.
Sure.
That's pretty much the program I stay on as a casting bot.
Now, do you see down there kind of like what we've seen up here and even over in Southern Illinois, the rattle bait, the rattle bait bite, or is it bigger stuff down there for you, or is it more of a jerk bait? What would you say to that?
Honestly, I've caught fish on rattle baits, but I don't think we get the bite here like Southern Illinois or anywhere in Kentucky. And the only thing I can figure, and me and Chris Reeby, he comes down and stays, and we fish quite a bit together. The only thing that I can think of is our water typically doesn't get below 45, 46 degrees. So I don't know if it doesn't get cold enough or what the deal is, but they just do not bite rattle baits good here.
Well, now is your shad there? Are they bigger?
So we actually have thread fins and gizzard shad, and we have another bait fish called a skipjack herring.
I seen a skipjack one time. A guy caught it beside me down there at Milton Hill, in the hot hole that everybody called it, and that was actually Ryan's nickname in high school.
I was waiting for a dirty joke to come after you said skipjack. Actually, I'm surprised we got that far.
But those things, this guy caught one. It looked like a tarpon. It was like 30 inches long.
Yeah, they get. I mean, we see a lot of them between 2 and 3 pounds. Really similar to like an American shad. That's about the closest thing to them.
They're huge.
Yep.
And I was wondering, maybe you're down there dealing with a larger bait fish. Maybe that might be why or something. But that's all. I figured it might work down there.
I mean, our gizzard shad range, and a lot of it depends on how good of a spawn they have, temps and everything like that. But in Milton Hill, we have gizzard shad from 4 inches all the way up to I've seen 12, 15, 16-inch gizzards in Milton Hill. I mean,
well, sure. So and you guys have a hell of a striper population down there.
Yep. Yeah, we do. Yep.
You guys get a lot of big striper down there. So, well, good deal. How's fishing? I mean, what's your idea? Your forecast coming up here.
Here within the next, probably with the weather that we've got within the next week or two, we're gonna bust out some blades, some top waters, of course, some jerk baits and some glide baits, maybe a few cranks.
Some Titans by Livingston?
No, probably some LT9s, some double showgirls. I fish a lot of hellhounds for glide baits. I like the hellhounds and some shums, a few narcans, and then I fish a lot of Lake X topwater stuff too.
Sure. They break out the narcan here, but not for fishing.
Flashes. Oh, they do here too. Trust me.
I know. So where do you live at down there? Do you live in what am I thinking of?
I live right outside of Knoxville.
Right outside of Knoxville. They just had the Bassmasters down there.
Yep, they did. Right in the middle of Knoxville, and it was an absolute mess. I mean, there's so many people that came to that thing. It was unreal.
What won it? Does anybody know? Did any of you guys know?
The Canadian Gussie.
Gussie won it.
Yeah, Gussie. Smallmouth.
Yeah, it was actually pretty cool. I was paying a little bit of attention to it. He was using like a little shad. Why can't I think of the name of the bait? But he was basically vertical jigging smallies using live scope. So I think some people were grumbling about that. But he won it a couple years ago, not the classic, but they had another tourney, elite series, and he won it on all smallmouth that time. And then people said he couldn't do it then. And then they said he wouldn't do it again, and he ended up doing it again. So it's kind of a cool storyline.
He won it out of the canal, which is what connects Tellico Lake to Fort Loudon Lake, and all it is a man-made channel that has riprap on both sides, and it's got one bridge that crosses it, and it's probably one of the most pressured areas on both lakes. And he caught fish every day in that place, which is that's a lot about how good of a fisherman he is.
Yeah, that's crazy. It was kind of fun to watch. Good for him.
Yeah, I actually had some Shimano reps on the boat last Saturday when he was out fishing, and they were all Canadians, and man, they were going crazy over the updates.
Oh, that's cool. Good deal. Well, I tell you what, we've got to get down to we're going to go Sweet 16 to our Elite 8. Brian, why don't you let us know what we're voting on here?
All right. Yeah. Last week we thinned the herd down from 32 teams remaining, and now we're down at 16. There was a couple upsets. A couple of my favorite baits got knocked off, but it is what it is. So let's start in the Northwest region. We have 4 baits remaining, all trolling crankbaits. The first matchup we have is the number 1 overall seed, the Grandma Lure. Last week it knocked off the Super Shad Rap, and we have it going up against the Headlocks and Matlocks. And the Headlocks and Matlocks knocked off the Slammer Minnows. So we have Grandmas at 1 and Headlocks at 4.
Oh. All right, I like both of them. This is like young bull, old bull mentality here. I'm going to go, though, with Grandma. Just caught a lot of fish on them, a lot more fish. I cast them, troll them. They've just been really good baits to me. I'm going Grandma. Cody, what do you think?
I'm going to have to go headlocks.
Oh, my God. Why is that? You got to give us a reason here.
They just get bit better down here. I mean, they really do get bit a lot better down here. I've trolled Grandma's a lot down here. And me and Reeby actually got on a pretty good trolling bite on the headlocks down here, and they absolutely they devour those things.
All right. Ryan, whichever, I don't care, one of you two.
One of us? Mm-hmm. I'll step up to the plate here. So I've actually caught more fish, which this isn't a large sample size, but I've caught more fish on Grandma's casting them and banging them into the rocks on Lake of the Woods. But, I mean, I'm from Minnesota, man. I don't do a ton of trolling, but, I mean, I have to go with headlocks. I mean, they're just, kind of the ultimate open water trolling bait up in our neck of the woods. So definitely going headlocks.
All right, Grandmas were invented on Pymatuning Reservoir. I am going with Grandmas because I love them on Pymatuning Reservoir.
Nice. All right, so you guys can suck it. Well, actually, it's a tie, so no one can suck it. What's
it on now or what?
What now?
How do we break the tie?
Well, the break the tie is going to go on to Facebook, and people are going to vote on Muskie Hunter Magazine bracket. Is that right, Brian?
That is correct.
Muskie Hunter Magazine bracket.
Great.
You go
you
on.
Get all kinds of foot traffic now. This is perfect.
And you will get on there and you will vote and let us know. And then next week we're going to do Elite 8 and Final 4 and come up with us a winner. So it'll definitely it'll be cool. So what's the next one?
Next matchup we have Perch Baits, who knocked off the Tough Shads, and they are the 3 seed going up against the number 2 seed, the Jakes, that knocked off the Crane Bait 207. Perch Baits versus Cranes. Perch Baits versus Jakes.
That is upsetting that the Cranes went down. They put up a good fight, though, I bet. Bill's a fighter. He may be little. Dynamite comes in small packages with that guy. So we got to go Jakes and Perch Baits. I hate to do it because I've just done well on Jakes. I think I got to go Jakes here. Super versatile bait. It's won the PMT a couple times down here. My buddy Kevin Nash loves them, and I've caught fish on them. I actually won a tournament. The first ever PMTT championship I won on Kincaid was on a 10-inch Jake. So I'm going to go 10-inch Jake. Cody?
Hands down, 10-inch Jake. You can cast them, troll them, twitch them, weight them. They're just so versatile and they flat out catch fish.
Do you throw them much there in Tennessee?
Oh, yeah. The 10s especially. I don't throw many 8s, many 6s, but the 10s, yeah. They flat out eat them, especially twitch them.
Yeah, that's the thing. Ryan, what do you think?
I got to go Jakes as well. I caught actually a lot of trolling on 14-inch Jakes, which is a heck of a bait. And yeah, a lot of times I'll put a 10-inch down on a down rod, and they surprisingly get bit a lot on lakes where I'm told down rods shouldn't get bit. So going Jake.
And last but not least, I'm going with the Perch Bait. Nothing against the Jakes. I prefer actually Grandmas over the Jakes personally, but I use a lot more Perch Baits, more of a summertime bait for me up here. Perch Bait, it is for me.
So with you, the Perch Bait, Brian, are you trolling those?
Yeah, I you know what? I don't do a ton of casting with Jakes in particular. They do well trolling for me here late in the fall, but Perch Bait's a bait that I'll put out starting in mid to late June, and it'll stay in the spread pretty much until we get ice. It's a confidence thing for me, I know the depth curves really well. I know where that bait is in the entire water column, and yeah, it consistently produces some good fish for me every year. So
Sure.
perch bait is my vote.
Well, Cody, let me ask you this: you're casting it mainly, right? The Jake.
Yep.
When do you start, or do you stop, or when has been your like Jake time?
Typically, from pretty much the end of October, all the way until right up before spawn, caught fish on Jakes pretty regularly.
Okay.
Mainly twitching them. I've trolled them some, which that's typically like November, December when I caught them trolling on it. But yeah, mainly casting, a lot of twitching, a lot of weighting them.
Just slowing them down, getting them deeper, stuff like that.
Yep. And I've caught fish on them in the summer as well, but they're unweighted, because they do kind of pop back up kind of quick.
Sure.
It seems like when that water's colder, a weighted Jake definitely is the ticket.
Yeah, and guys, if you want to get some Jakes, I'll do my little segue here. If you want to get some Jakes, check out driftertackle.com, driftertackle.net, actually, driftertackle.net. Not only that, they make the Hellhounds, they make all the Muskie, the ERC products, the Senate tackle products, all the Muskie Mania products, which includes the 10-inch Jake, and the Lokies. They've got tackle boxes, rods. Check them out at driftertackle.net. What else we got, Brian?
All right, so that was the northwest region with all trolling baits. Now we get down to the southwest region, which is mixed between casting baits and trolling baits, but there are only casting baits left. The first matchup we have is the 1 seed, the Mayhem Cowgirls. Last week they knocked off the Lake X Toads. And the Cowgirls are going up against the Shumway Flashers, who just recently knocked off the Blue Water Bait Herrings.
Oh.
Cowgirls, Flashers.
That is actually, I think, going to be closer than you think. Because the Flasher has been such a good bait for people over the years. But I still got to go Cowgirl, Junior Cowgirl in that range there. I find myself throwing them a lot, everywhere I'm at. So I'm going to go Cowgirl on that one. Cody, what you think?
Cowgirl. I mean, I've caught more 50-inch plus fish on a Cowgirl than any other lure I have. I mean, they just keep catching fish. I mean, even with the 10-9s, the trimmer, everything that's out, the Cowgirl still just catches fish. I mean,
sure.
They flat work down here.
Sure. Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, you got a couple of the oldest, double-bladed bucktails here in the mix, which is cool. And I've caught some fish on the Shumway stuff, but man, I mean, just the amount of fish I've caught on Cowgirls and literally for me, I mean, that was like a life-changing bait when those things came out. So, yeah, I got way too many big fish on Cowgirls and way too much history to not pick the Cowgirl.
All right. I got a feeling I know where Brian's going to go here.
Yep, this is going to be a clean sweep for the Cowgirls. Yeah, they're terrific baits. I'm not a huge bucktail person in general, but yeah, Cowgirls earn my vote.
Well,
next,
let me ask you something. Let me ask something here. Ryan, you're a Minnesota, true born and bred Minnesotan, playing hockey and bad at golf. What about Cowgirls bucktail fishing? When do you start that? Maybe give some guys an idea of when the season gets going. What to look for with the blade stuff.
Well, first of all, what's with the shot at the golf game?
There's a lot of snow up there. You guys can't play golf. You can't find the ball because it's white.
Right. Okay. Well, I can't find the ball because it's usually in the woods. But either way, and I haven't played for like 20 years because of muskie fishing. Basically, I blame muskie fishing. No, I mean it used to be as easy as our season doesn't open till June, so. Generally we're starting with, depending where you are in the state, you got water, generally, anywhere from mid 50s to 70 degrees. at opener, and I used to say, basically if we had a warm spring, I mean, I'd just start throwing bucktails right out of the gate. And I still will to an extent, but it's really, it just seems like some years they're not biting bucktails. I would almost argue now it's more the cooler starts to the year that bucktails get bit better, because it seems like there's more fish in the weeds. It's kind of turned into, June is really a rubber dominated month for me nowadays, but I mean, it's bucktail land up here. If there's fish on weed edges or up shallow, they like to get behind bucktails and chase them. So, for me, it's kind of where they're at, I guess. Not that I haven't caught them in open water on bucktails, but if they're on structure, somebody's going to be throwing a bucktail in my boat. So it could be right away. I would say definitely though, like August and September, are fantastic bucktail months. And, we've had some really good topwater years, for, basically since about 2015. I feel like topwater has really, really been good, but last year, it felt like the good old days of bucktail fishing. Last year was definitely a bucktail year. So, yeah, keep those blades spinning.
What about you, Cody? You're not fishing now, and I don't know this. Maybe you are, but do you have that much weed beds there in Tennessee, or is it more timber? Or
so up until about 2013, 2012, Melton Hill actually didn't have any weeds whatsoever because they killed them all out in the 90s, which was all pretty much milfoil. We had a little bit of hydrilla, but it was mainly all milfoil, and they killed it out because every fall when it would die off, it would go downriver and get sucked into the generators, and so TVA that built the dams, that was obviously an issue. So they killed every bit of weeds out through all of our system, and then in 12 it came back. But even before that, it was all timber. So now we have a lot of weeds, and I start throwing bucktails as soon as the water hits like 57. I mean, but yeah, now that we have weeds, our fish generally, the fish that I'm trying to target, your most active fish are typically in the weeds around here.
All right, what kind of weeds do you have there?
It's mainly all milfoil.
Oh, I missed the milfoil days. We don't have hardly any milfoil. How tall is it right now?
Right now it's like 1.5 to 2 feet off the bottom in most places. And so, in the back of some of the bays, in 3 feet of water, you can see it almost starting to creep to the surface in some of your coves in the very back, just where the water's. We had a good warm up like 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it was started to grow pretty good then. And then we had a cold front that came through, kind of cooled things back off. And then it warmed back up last week, and it's starting to grow. Usually by the end of April, we have mats. Our weeds already start matting.
Wow. Okay. Well, good deal. All right. Well, Brian, let's go to the next one.
All right. The last matchup in the southwestern region. I thought this was a little bit of an upset. We had the Shallow Invaders taking out the Hellhounds. And Shallow Invaders are a 6 seed going up against the number 2 seed in this bracket, the Medusa, that knocked off Datsun Blade Baits.
Well, this might not be a popular opinion, but I'm going Shallow Invader because my biggest fish on Lake of the Woods came on a Shallow Invader. I've caught fish on Shallow Invaders literally everywhere I've fished, from Minnesota to Canada, Kentucky, all over. I do like the Shallow Invaders. And Cody, what do you say?
Shallow Invader, hands down.
Hands down. He just mic dropped, just turned around, boom.
Hands down.
Nice. So they work down there. I'm sure they're a Tennessee staple.
You can ask anybody that's fished with me down here from usually September all the way until April or May, and some throughout the summer, I have a Shallow Invader tied on somewhere in my boat.
Wow. So from like September 1st to August 31st, You're saying that sometime in there is a good shallow
Pretty
bait
much.
time. Okay.
We just have so many gizzard shad, and a lot of our baits, a lot of our gizzards are 6 to 8 inches. It just works here. They just eat it.
Now,
And it's versatile. I mean, it's very versatile. You can troll it, you can straight retrieve it, you can twitch it. I mean, and they just get bit here. I mean, they do. I've got like 50 or 60 shallow invaders.
oh my God. All right. Well, speaking of someone else who's verse, Ryan, what do you say?
Well, I got to go with the deuce on this one. You know, I hate that you made this an innovations versus. Well, actually, I kind of like that it's innovations versus chaos, and it's a hard bait or a lip bait and a rubber, because it would have been hard to pick between a bulldog and a deuce. But you know, we just got such a good rubber bite up here for a large part of the year, and you know, putting a deuce on basically any size, regular husky. I guess you could throw the mids in there too, and in the monsters. I mean, they produce so much on Minnesota waters. So, yeah, I mean, when in doubt, throw a hunk of rubber on and rip the hell out of it. And there really isn't a better bait than a deuce. So there you have it.
All right, Brian.
I'm gonna go with the shallow invader.
Oh, another one bites
3-1. Yeah, it's a bait that. Like Cody was saying, it can be used year-round. We have 40-degree water right now here in Pennsylvania, and every trip that I've had so far, we've had one out. We've actually got a couple fish already on them this year. Just pretty slow, straight retrieving. Once they start doing a little short lining, those are going to be in the spread a lot. So very versatile bait, very underrated out this way, and earns my vote.
What now on those, Brian? Are you casting them?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Right now we're casting them.
Mainly straight
Kind
retrieve, though, you said?
Well, yeah, I mean, we got a little bit of stain to our water right now, so just having a little bit of extra vibration, rattle, and whatnot. I'll have 2 on this time of year, just in the depths we're working and stuff like that. So the other day, you know, I had a young gentleman up front. He was straight retrieving it. I was in the back twitching it. Turns out the straight retrieve was what they wanted, so that's what we were giving them.
Oh, well, that's cool. Let me ask Cody here. Cody, do you, or, I mean, anyone here, do you extend the hook back there?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
I won't throw one without. I triple split ring them is the way that I do it.
Triple split ring them. What does that mean?
I put 3 split rings in a row on, and then I hook my hook into the tail.
Okay.
The bottom of the.
So you like daisy chain it back there?
Yep, pretty much.
All right.
That's the easiest way I found to do it. You don't have to go bending a bunch of wire, and if your wire gets bent up, you don't have to worry about keeping spares. I mean, it's just simple, easy, and it works. It'll actually weight the bait a little bit too, where it twitches a little better.
Huh. Never heard of that way. That's cool. So triple split rings out the back, pinned in the tail. Good to go. Not a fancy wire bending. I like it. That makes it actually a lot easier.
Way you rig one up in 3 seconds in the boat. You know, so that's what's nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool. Brian, what else you got?
Yeah. He's got me thinking I'm going to be switching out a lot of my shallow invaders to that. It just sounds so much easier than doing wire.
You know what? Mom always said,
simple.
when in trouble, call someone from Tennessee. That is,
right.
I mean, that is. I seen that on a Snapple lid one time. It was. This is great. All right, Brian. What's the next one?
All right, now we're going to move to the northeast region where we have a mixed batch of trolling and casting baits. The number 1 seed, Depth Raider, knocked off the original Bondi bait last week.
Boo.
Depth Raider will be going up against the Suick, and the Suicks knocked off the Believer.
Well, then I'm going Suick all the way. I have caught a ton of fish casting on Suicks. My first jerkbait muskie ever when I was 13 was on a Suick. I am going Suick all the way, hands down. What do you say, Cody?
I'm probably gonna have to go Suic. You can use them. They don't break every 3 seconds. And they catch fish. And they last a very long time until you pretty much eat the wood away with hook rash.
Exactly. Ryan?
Yeah, I'm going Suic as well. Yeah, a lot of history with those baits. My two good fishing buddies that I grew up fishing with. I think at one time, several different times, as we were kind of stair-stepping upward with PBs, I think there's a lot of times where all of our PBs were on Suics at a given time, which is kind of neat. That western Minnesota, throwing those things in the fall before we started live bait fishing and stuff. I mean, they were just they're just big fish baits, and you can fish them a lot of different areas, a lot of different applications, and it's a goofy bait, pretty simple action, but man, they get bit.
Yes, I love it.
Let me ask you this: you fishing more weighted or unweighted?
Weighted, definitely weighted. And not to hijack the Suics, glory here, because we do have a Suic win. I don't want to take anything away from Brian's vote, but I want to point that out before but like in recent years, a lot of the heavier, jerk baits have kind of gotten a little bit more, of the heat here in Minnesota, and it's because the clear water, deeper edges. I mean, you want to get those things down. So I mean, you were talking about like hook rash and wearing away the paint. We used to soak them in buckets and stuff, submerge them, get them waterlogged a little bit. They still hunt best that way.
I thought you were going to say butter.
That actually might be a good idea. Yeah, I didn't think of that. Maybe a little country crock or something. That's a great idea.
I have no idea. That's where my head went.
Did you get that off of a Snapple can too?
No.
Oh, shit.
No,
okay.
that was Laffy Taffy.
Okay.
That's where that came from. All right.
So that's a joke then.
Yes. Brian, I think I know where you're going here, but what's your vote?
Yeah, I'm going to be the oddball and go with depth raiders. I said it every week on this podcast throughout the bracket. It's the one bait I have a lot of confidence in, and I take it pretty much everywhere I go throughout the whole muskie range. I do like throwing Suics. They're obviously great baits. They've made it this far in the bracket, but I don't know. I got a little place in my heart for the depth raiders.
I understand. What's the next one?
All right, next matchup we have. Actually, that's my seeding, so it means absolutely nothing. But the number 14 seed, the Triple D. Last week it knocked off the Boss Shads, and will be going up against the 22 short that, in a very close race, knocked off the Pacemaker.
Oh, well, that's a weird one. I didn't think that would be that way, but I'm gonna go 22 short because I've caught a lot of fish on them, more than I have the Triple D. I've caught fish on them up north. I've caught fish on them down south. I've caught fish in their mouth. They just seem to work. And again, lunging lures. 22 short. Cody.
I'm going to have to go against the grain here. Want to go ahead and apologize to Matt because he's a good buddy of mine. But I'm going to have to go Triple D.
The triple da-da-da?
Yep. They, once again, super versatile. You can straight retrieve them, troll them. I twitch them a lot here throughout the winter. It's just something about that size and profile here that works. I mean,
now are you using the regular Triple D or the big one?
The regular, the 9 inch is what I fish here.
Okay. Okay.
I've got some of the big 12 inch, and I've caught a few fish on them. But the 9 inch is really just that size. Really gets fish.
Good deal. Ryan.
Well, I don't have a cool Dr. Seuss rhyme like you had. I caught fish north, I caught fish south, I caught fish right in their mouth. That was pretty cool, though.
I'm good at this.
Yeah, you certainly are. No, I like the lunging stuff. I gotta admit though, man, I have never owned or used a 22 short. I've caught a couple fish on triple D's, and believe it or not, it's been actually casting them, which we don't get a lot of fish casting lipped baits in Minnesota. But I have caught a couple, so I gotta go with the triple D.
All right, Brian.
This is a really hard one for me. My first 50 on Chautauqua came on a triple D, so there's a little history there. The 22 short, I use a lot more of them as of recent. I feel that, they may be a little bit more of a numbers bait. But in my box right now, this upcoming season, I plan to fish more 22 shorts, so that's going to be my vote.
There we go.
Yeah.
I knew there was.
Does anybody know how Triple D got its name? Like, is there something I'm missing here?
It doesn't stand for like dives, dips, dangles,
dodges, ducks.
Dodge, duck. What was the Patches O'Houlihan? What was his saying?
Duck, dive, dodge, duck, and dodge.
Yeah. You shouldn't drink your own urine, but I do. I like the way it tastes. That was
You could dodge a wrench, you could dodge a ball.
Exactly, and all of a sudden you hear the girl squeal when he hits her with the wrench. Oh, apparently she wasn't as good. Oh, no, but I think it's some kind of alliteration with the name Triple D. I have caught fish on them. Cast. I've never caught one trolling it, but I've caught fish casting it. I placed one time at an Eagle River PMT twitching the Triple D, but for short line trolling stuff that I do in the spring, kind of all through, my biggest tiger muskie was on Lake St. Clair, was on a Triple D, or on a 22 short. So, yeah, I got to go. Yeah, they're good baits. I think they're both the baits have a time and place. So we'll see what the masses think when they vote for them on the Muskie Hunter Magazine bracket Facebook page. So what's the next one, Brian?
Before we move on, I'm just curious, everybody who's listening to this at home, when you get on the Facebook page, comment if you've ever caught trolling fish on the Triple D. I've tried it and tried it and tried it, and obviously love casting it. But yeah, I want to see if anyone's got a good pattern of trolling these baits. I haven't figured it out yet myself. But
so there's your
last
homework.
Region. What's that?
I said, so there's your homework. You should.
Yeah.
We want to know your comments. All right, what's our last region here?
Last region is all casting baits. We have the number one seed, the Bulldogs. Last week they knocked off Mep's Muskie Killers, and they are going up against Phantom Jerkbaits, and the Phantoms knocked off the Shadzilla.
Well, I got to go, Muskie Innovations. I've been throwing Bulldogs since 95 is when I got my first ones, and it's just been a bait that's been good ever since. No matter what size you want to throw, from the big baits to the little ones, whether it be the pounder all the way down to the spring dogs, they just catch fish, and they catch fish everywhere. So I got to go Bulldogs. Cody?
I've got to go Mag Dogs.
Yep. Has that been a good one for you down there?
Yeah, we get a pounder bite every once in a while, but typically the mag is where it's at here, and we get a pretty good bite on the regular dogs too on post spawn fish.
Well, let me ask you this: are you throwing weighted or unweighted?
Unweighted. I typically don't add any extra weight. Our fish stay so shallow most of the time.
So you're throwing the unweighted dogs?
Yeah, generally our fish stay from 12 feet and less year-round. You can catch fish in 12 feet to a foot deep year-round here.
Nice. All right, Ryan?
Well, when I heard Bulldog, I thought, yep, okay, I wasn't even going to listen to what they said or what Brian said next. When I heard Phantom, I kind of did like the Robert De Niro like upside down smile, like like basically if it was Phantoms versus any other glide bait, I think Phantom would rule the glide bait category for me. But I mean, just way too many fish caught on Bulldogs. I mean, that is an all-time bait for me. Mag dogs and pounders, that is. So definitely gotta go Bulldog.
All right, I'm last. If I were only allowed to fish in March and April, it'd be Phantoms, hands down. But the other, 6-7 months that I'm out there, the Bulldogs definitely dominate that category for me.
Yeah,
be simple there.
The clean sweep. All right, here's our last one.
All right, last matchup. We have the Red October Tubes. Last week they knocked off the Fat Bastard. Going up against, Greg, I'm sorry to tell you, the Top Raider, which knocked off your Dying Dog.
It's rigged. This thing is rigged. Well, all I had to hear, you had me at Tube. And so I am Red October Tube. I've been a fan of them ever since the mid-'90s when they had or in the early 2000s when they had a booth beside me at the Ohio Muskie Show. And in their booth, they had a picture of Britney Spears with a bald head. And at that moment, I knew I was going to be friends with these guys. And, so the Red October Tube has caught me fish everywhere. I've caught some giant fish on those baits. Red October Tube, hands down. Cody?
I've got to agree. Just the way that they can trigger a negative and neutral fish and catch fish when other baits just don't get bit. The Tube is hard to beat.
It's pretty unbelievable. Now down there, Cody, are you using the shallow rig or are you using the mid depth? What are you using?
So generally, when I'm fishing a Tube here, I don't know how everybody else fishes them, but generally I fish them I usually fish them like a weightless fluke on a shallow rig is the rig that I use. So a lot of popping, kind of letting them glide around. And then sometimes I'll drag them on some mud bars before the weeds come up in winter. That's typically the way that I'm fishing them.
Yeah, I like the shallow rig too. That's always been good. Ryan, what about you?
Well, I feel like we're kind of living in a backwards world here where Fat Bastard got eliminated and Top Raider's still in the mix, but
I agree.
Yeah, here's the thing. I got a lot of history. Yeah, right. It's all seeding. But no, man, here's the thing. I kind of want to get Greg to bring up some letter that he got when he was like 16 years old.
The man wrote me a letter when I was 16 and told me some not very nice things, and that's fine. That's fine. Everybody can do that.
I'm going Top Raider.
But
I'm going Top Raider, Greg.
Oh my God, Judas! That is.
Hey, that was like one of the first baits I threw back in the day.
That doesn't mean anything. My first bait that I threw was a Bill Norman. It's not like I'm going to William to his buddies. I'm not going to do that.
Well, just because a legend in the industry writes you a sour letter. I mean, geez, man.
This was more than sour. This was curdled milk. This man was not the pen is mightier than the sword. I got wounded.
Oh man, are you gonna bust it out and read it?
I don't know where it went. I honestly don't.
Come on, you're telling me you don't have like a PDF file on your phone?
This was in '97. Nobody knew what a PDF was. There was barely a PDA. Jesus.
You got it on You got it on a 3.5-inch floppy.
Exactly. That's what I got. I got a poster of it. It's my mantra in the mornings. It was not a nice letter. People that read it were like, "Ooh, he's not very nice," and I go, "Yes, he's not very nice."
Okay, final vote. Top Raider.
You're a dick.
I'm going with Red October tubes.
Nice.
Damn it.
The lakes that I fish, we don't have the greatest topwater bites. We get a week here, a week there, maybe. But tubes are very hard to beat, especially on pressured waters, especially, with the depths that I'm trying to hit. They just, they're a perfect bait for how I fish and where I fish.
Well, thank God that 3 out of the 4 people here are not complete morons. That is just horrible. Oh my God! You should have seen me. I was 16. My dreams were crushed, and then I just got pissed, and here we are today.
You got pissed and you got even.
I got even.
You're a muskie mogul now.
Exactly. All right. Well, I tell you what, we got down to the Elite 8. We're going to do that with the Final 4 next week. Guys, thanks for coming on here. Brian, you got anything you want to push?
Oh, I got actually a lot of wander sheds just painted up the other day here. So if anybody's looking for any wooden crankbaits with a lot of erratic action to them, I got plenty sitting at home, or you can call me up. I just actually had a couple guide trips open up too, April 5 and 6. If anyone's looking to get out on Pima Tuning, looks like we're going to have some nice warm weather. Who knows if the podcast will be up in time, but I'd like to push those 2 things, Greg.
All right. How somebody get a hold of you? I mean, is this like a bathroom stall deal or what?
Yep.
Yes.
Talk twice.
Any turnpike, you never know.
BigPAMuskie.com is the easiest way to reach me, or I have Captain Chaos on Facebook and on Instagram.
All right. Ryan.
Yes, sir.
Anything you want to push here? What's going on?
I just want to push winter out of here, and I want spring to come. That's about it. We got a little melting to do up here, so yeah, that's about all I got.
All right. Well, if somebody would want to go fishing with you, even though you make bad decisions, how could they get a hold of you?
Yeah, in the event that anybody would want to do that, I don't know why, but yeah, you can get a hold of me, TwinCitiesMuskie.com, Twin Cities Muskie with a Y, or hit me up at 651-206-8767.
All right. Cody, how can somebody get a hold of you if they want to go fishing with you?
So the easiest way is you can give me a call at 865-249-1010, or you can hit me up on Instagram or Facebook. Cody Daniels _guide service. I know, super original.
Super original and short.
Yep.
But all right, guys. Well, hey, thanks for coming on. Before we quit, just want to mention the Muskie Hunter Tournament. Going to be here May 13th down on Cave Run Lake. We got a lot of cool prizes this year. Quite a bit of money to be given away. So if you're interested, May flowers, May 13th, down here on Cave Run Lake. Check out muskiehunter.com to sign up starting April 1st, or give Tony Grant a call, because he does not hear from enough people, and he would love to hear voices at 606-776-6567. 6567. A lot of numbers in there. All right, guys. Hey, thanks for coming on here tonight, and we will talk to you later.
Thanks for having us.
All right. See ya.
All right,
Thanks,
boys.
guys.
Have a good one.
Yep. Bye.
Yeah.